Jones is listed as a federal informant in court documents in the case against Tekashi. In the original court transcripts that were previously released online, the conversation between individual 1, Jim Jones, is listed as cooperating with federal agents in a conversation with Jamal Melmurder Jones, which would explain why Jim Jones has been able to have such a lengthy criminal record and avoid prison time in the past.
Niggas are scared to hustle because niggas are snitching so much. Maybe that's what's going on. I would be scared to hustle too when I know that every other nigga is snitching just so he don't want to do no time because he's can't bear to be inside the jail cell.
Jim Jones, who is Jim Jones? Like, he's not on anyone's top 10 list. He's not like no one's top 10 list, maybe not even his family.
An old audio just leaked. Jay-Z calling Jim Jones a snitch. But here's the twist. Jay's top exec at Roc Nation is a confirmed federal informant. So, what's really going on here? And why target Jim now? Recently, Jim stirred up a mess with his controversial take on Nas, and ever since then, all his old dirt started resurfacing, especially those claims that he worked with the feds. But here's the head scratcher. If Jay-Z's so against snitching, why is his most trusted Roc Nation exec known to have cooperated with the feds? And on top of that, why would Jay even sign Jim Jones to Roc Nation knowing his name was tied to all that? This whole situation's got people scratching their heads like crazy.
As we can tell, there's no expense being spared. We had a black billionaire's lunch. Yeah. You understand?
Right.
And we here together.
I think we passed kneeling.
Let me play again. This time, look at the reaction of the lady sat just behind him. The reason why she's worried about how Jay would respond is because she's the CEO of Roc Nation. But in her former life, she was a federal informant.
Let's get into the audio that kicked this whole mess off. In the leaked clip, Jay-Z didn't hold back. He went all in on Jim Jones. He called Jim a fake rapper and said he doesn't even see him as a real peer in the rap game. According to Jay, Jim's role in the industry ain't about music at all. It's about something else entirely. What's that supposed to mean?
Jones, man. Hip-hop, of course, you know, is a competitive sport. But on the other end of it, it's like certain people shouldn't be able to say your names until they've done something in the genre of music. I've done too much in this music to even have to answer that question. Like, Jim Jones, who is Jim Jones? Like, he's not on anyone's top 10 list. He's like no one's top 10 list, maybe not even his family. I was saying last night, it's like the 8th guy on the bench just screaming at Jordan, like, you a bum. Like, you like the 9th guy on the bench. I'm not even worried about you.
So, did Jay-Z already know something shady about Jim Jones before the rest of the world caught on? If Jay was throwing hints that Jim was a fake rapper, or even worse, an informant, then why bring him into Roc Nation in the first place? Now let's get into these long-running rumors about Jim being a Fed snitch. These whispers been circling for a while, but trust 50 Cent to make sure they don't die out. 50 brought all that heat right back when he posted a pic on Instagram showing Jim posted up with Jay-Z, Diddy, Fat Joe, and a few others. The caption? Straight shade. LOL individual 1, calling the shots out here. I know you working, so please don't say gangster-ish to me. Individual 1. If that post had you confused, here's the backstory. Those rumors go all the way back to the Tekashi 6ix9ine case. While Tekashi was up on that stand telling everything about the 9 Trey Bloods, a wiretap call dropped where Jim was heard saying Tekashi wasn't part of the crew no more and needed to get violated. That call had people raising serious questions. And of course, 50 didn't waste no time. He posted the full transcript of that wiretap for everybody to see. Back in 2018, Tekashi got slammed with federal racketeering and weapons charges alongside members of the 9 Trey Gangsta Bloods, a violent crew tied to the Bloods. The feds had been watching that gang heavy, and once Tekashi got locked up, he flipped fast and started cooperating for a deal.
Brooklyn rapper Tekashi 6ix9ine pleaded guilty to federal charges, admitting he participated in a violent gang. He also pledged to cooperate with prosecutors. The rapper, whose legal name is Daniel Hernandez, said he joined the 9 Trey Blood gang in the fall of 2017. He says he helped them try to kill a rival gang member last March. Prosecutors say the gang carried out acts of murder, robbery, and narcotics trafficking in Manhattan, the Bronx, and Brooklyn. The indictment also said each gang member was required to participate in at least 2 acts of racketeering conspiracy, which could include murder, robbery, extortion, or drug distribution. The plea deal could allow Hernandez leniency at sentencing. He was facing a mandatory 47-year prison sentence.
Back in September 2019, Tekashi hit the courtroom and turned it into a full-blown snitch fest. He got up there and dropped names: Anthony Harv Ellison, Aljermiah Nuke Mack, and a bunch more. He basically laid out 9 Trey's whole blueprint, airing out everything they'd been doing. So where does Jim Jones fit in all this? His name popped up in some wiretap audio played during the trial. In one of the calls, Jim was allegedly caught chopping it up with Jamel Mel Murda Jones, another high-ranking 9 Trey figure. And the convo? It sounded like they were plotting what to do about Tekashi after he made it public he was out the gang, and Jim seemed to be hinting at straight-up retaliation.
He definitely humiliating Shotty right now. But
well, you got your picture up there next to the post. You know, like when you go to YouTube and World Star, they got his picture next to this. Everything he say, they got a split screen with Shotty picture next to this. I said, this crazy, son. But he's doing that to make K9 think he don't got no relationship with Boy. That's what he's trying to do. That's what he's trying to do. He's trying to live. He's trying to supplement himself.
That wiretap raised serious eyebrows, not just because it linked Jim Jones to top 9 Trey figures, but because it left folks asking the big question: how did Jim end up on a Fed wire?
That's cool, but now he gotta get violated.
Yeah, super violated. Super duper. So ain't too much he can really do unless he gonna run around with 100 armed securities all day. You know what I'm saying? He gonna get shot at penny.
He ain't getting enough money for that.
That's a fact. And he just canceled all his shows.
And he ain't a gang member no more.
Nah, he ain't nothing.
That's what Shotty needs to make sure he do.
Nah,
Tell that he's not a gang member no more. He kicked out the whip. He was never a gang member. Shotty need to expose him.
Talking gang business and still walk away without a single charge. After the trial wrapped, people couldn't help but wonder, how does Jim get caught on tape talking about violating someone, yet he's the only 9 Trey affiliate who doesn't get indicted? Naturally, this kicked off a whole new wave of speculation that Jim might have been working with the feds, or at the very least, saying just enough to stay out of trouble. And nobody pushed that narrative harder than Wack 100. He flat out called Jim a federal informant, claiming the only reason he stayed free was because he was cooperating with law enforcement.
Jim Jones was caught on wiretap telling Jamel, look, Jim Jones was caught on wiretap telling Jim Jones was caught on wiretap on my case, he was telling the big homie Mel Matrix, Jamel Jones, to go and get rid of my security. How you do it? How you shoot at them? They don't got no license to carry weapons, don't nothing in New York.
Wack didn't back down either. He went hard on Clubhouse, in interviews, even in convos with Tekashi. He straight up dared Jim to prove he wasn't working with the feds and dropped the receipts.
Right? He ran with the same I ran with a decade before I met him. Jim Jones, the Dipset, the that was just over there dancing on verses. Jim Jones was running with Shotty, Cafano Jordan, right? Mel Matrix, Jamel Jones, Roe Murder, Roland Martin. He was running Fu Banger, Fuquan. I forgot his last name, Fuquan something. He was running with all of the cats I ran with and got indicted for. You know what Jim Jones did? That nigga did not take care of none of them. Because when I ran to them, Shotty was sleeping on the rug.
But it didn't end there. Things got even messier. Former Dipset member Jaja jumped in and stirred it up more, claiming she had receipts that Jim straight up set up his own friend, Mel Murda.
Detective Jones, people at Splash Brand do not f with no informants. I did 4 years in the feds, homie, because I ain't snitch. You set your best friend up on the wiretap. See, Wack 100 and Tekashi, they don't got receipts like that because they really don't know.
Now that we've unpacked where all the Jim Jones is a snitch talk really started, let's circle back to Jay-Z. Because to really get why Jay might have set Jim up for a public takedown, you gotta understand just how deep their beef goes. Jay and Jim been at odds for over a decade, with tension stretching all the way back to the early 2000s. It all kicked off in 2002 when Dame Dash brought Cameron and Jim Jones into Rockefeller. The drama started fast. Jim claimed Cam was promised a vice president title at the label, but Jay, he wasn't backing that up. At the time, Jay told The Source, "That's not taking effect as of yet. I think the talk is a little premature right now." All this was going down while Jay was already in a heated beef with Nas. So what did Jay do? He jumped on a remix of Cameron and Jules Santana's hit Oh Boy, using it to throw shots at Nas. But Cam and Jim weren't with it. They shut that remix down. Cam cut Jay's verse entirely, and later said he wasn't about to let Jay use their track to fight his personal battles.
Did a little something for you in the studio. Then he had something to Oh Boy.
This is Oh Boy's already #1?
Yeah, it's popping.
All right.
Yeah, I listened to it and I was like, erase that shit.
That moment right there set the whole vibe. Cam and Jim felt like Jay-Z had zero respect for them. That's when the sneak disses started flying. Jim went at Jay heavy in interviews and on the radio, calling him corporate, out of touch with the streets, and straight up soft.
First of all, let's get right to it. There seems to be some drama. You and The Roc, Jay-Z, you try to diss. You did diss him.
I just nobody.
You dissed him.
I just Michael Jordan. Oh man, we just there's no drama, man.
No, we're gonna get to that.
Shouts to Dame Dash, who started Rockefeller Records. If y'all don't know, he's responsible for Rockefeller getting off the floor that started in Harlem. You know what I'm talking about?
Jim also made it real clear that he was all about loyalty and keeping it 100. He even took shots at rappers who turned snitch, calling them out for not staying solid.
They hustling like they need to, you dig? And they ain't keeping it funky like they used to. So I don't understand. Maybe scared to hustle because snitches so much. Maybe that's what's going on. I would be scared to hustle too when I know that every other snitching just so he don't want to do no time because he's can't bear to be inside the jail system. Now the to say not nothing to brag about when I was coming up. Kind of happy to go to jail to say they did something tough, even though I never been behind the walls myself. But my I be around, there used to be a bragging point like I just came home at. That was when we was young. Nowadays, you punks are scared to go in and do.
At first, Jay kept it cool and stayed silent. No direct shots back. But everyone felt the tension building inside Rockefeller. Then in 2006, Jim dropped We Fly High, and it blew up. That hit was everywhere. And that's when Jay finally clapped back with Brooklyn High.
Former rival, we were relying on Ho's team to steer his career, as Dip says Jim Jones is allegedly heading over to Roc Nation. Capo posted a picture of bottles of Douce and Ace of Spades next to a Roc Nation letterhead on IG and told fans to caption this.
But the drama didn't stop there. Jim clapped back again with the We Fly High Beef Mix remix, this time going straight for Jay's neck. He took shots at Jay's age, calling him an old head, and dropped savage lines like, "I told Warning, you're older, better chill. Better slow down before your old head gets killed." Fast forward to 2008, and that rap beef started spilling into real life. Security footage caught Jim laying hands on someone inside a Louis Vuitton store, and that someone turned out to be Jay-Z's longtime A&R, Lenny Santiago. Jim got arrested and later pleaded guilty to misdemeanor assault over it. Then in 2015, Dipset lit the fire again with a freestyle over Diddy's Victory beat. Cam and Jim threw more shots at Jay and Roc Nation, mocking the Roc Nation brunch and calling Jay soft and too corporate for the streets. But out of nowhere, the story flipped. Jim suddenly switched up and started begging Jay to sign him. By February 2017, after 13 years of beef, Jim officially joined Roc Nation and signed with Jay's camp. Nobody saw that twist coming.
If anybody getting handsome checks, should be us. Cocaine, he did that. Things, the same huge as you.
And Jim didn't keep it low-key at all. He started bragging about getting invited to Jay's Roc Nation brunch, the same event he used to clown. Now he was out here praising Jay in public, doing the most to show loyalty and prove he'd switch sides. But Jay, still quiet. He barely even acknowledged Jim's Roc Nation deal. It was clear Jay was keeping it all strictly business. He wasn't trying to play buddy-buddy, and he definitely didn't want folks thinking they were cool like that. Now here's where things get real interesting. Some folks believe Jay didn't sign Jim as a peace offering. They say it was a straight-up chess move. See, Jay's got a history of flipping his rivals into business partners. Just look at the Locks, Fat Joe, J. Cole, Meek Mill. All of them had beef with Jay at some point and still ended up under the Roc Nation banner. But with Jim, even after bringing him in, Jay kept his distance. So was Jay trying to protect his image, especially with all that Tekashi drama and snitch talk surrounding Jim. Here's the plot twist. Jay's whole "I don't mess with snitches" vibe, it might just be an act. Because Jay's right-hand woman and president of Roc Nation, Desiree Perez, is a documented federal informant.
This time, look at the reaction of the lady sat just behind him. The reason why she's worried about how Jay would respond is because she's the CEO of Roc Nation. But in her former life, she was a federal informant. In 1994, Desiree Perez was arrested for bringing in 35 keys of Griselda Blanco into Miami. Under pressure, she agreed to wear a wire for the DEA.
So if Jay's cool doing business with confirmed informants, why'd he ghost Jim Jones over some snitching rumors? That's when the real talk started circulating.
Quick side note, Desiree Perez is a name Dame Dash refused to say in this Breakfast Club interview.
Once a has certain friends, we don't even talk about them no more where I'm from.
Now, around that same time, Jay-Z and Perez spearheaded Roc Nation's prison reform initiative with Meek Mill. I guess their hard work paid off, because on the 19th of January 2021, this list was released. Desiree Perez's criminal past had just been wiped clean by the outgoing president, Donald.
What if Jay-Z's been playing both sides all along? Maybe it's never been about loyalty. Maybe it's always been about power and control. Jay didn't need Jim, but Jim definitely needed Jay. And when Jim's name got tangled in those wiretaps, Jay did what he does best, protect the brand. So maybe Jay wasn't mad Jim might have snitched. Maybe he was mad Jim wasn't his snitch. And that makes you wonder, what's really going on behind closed doors at Roc Nation? Make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe if you want more heat like this. Let us know what you think, and we'll see you in the next one.